So how do you create a brand that truly represents who you are and the products you sell, as well as building a business that you can scale online? That is what this podcast will help you do. My name is Henry Kaminsky Jr., and welcome to the Brand Doctor Podcast.
Let me just make this statement loud and clear. Jersey's here, Jersey's here.
All right, guys, welcome to another Brand Doctor Podcast episode. We are again recording this live on Facebook as we live stream this. So I am going to be grabbing some questions from the audience and prodding them to drop some questions in the comments. We have an amazing guest today. I've been working with this individual for probably 5.5 years at this point. And without her, I don't know if I'd be able to scale my business online like I've done in order to get that 2 Comma Club award, in order to get the clients that I'm so happy and blessed to have. She keeps me in check, she keeps me organized, and she keeps the team on point. And thank God I hired her and her team back then, because again, like I said, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today without her. Without further ado, I want to introduce Pam Pormentilla. She's actually been on the show a couple of times already. She runs a virtual remote, basically it's an HR company online. She will basically bring you the assistance you need to scale and grow your business online virtually. And she runs a company called Great Work Online. And I have her on the show today because I want to go over some of the mistakes that we as entrepreneurs make when working with remote teams. So now, due to the COVID outbreak and everybody working remotely and from home, this is relevant, and this is going to help you scale online. So Pam, welcome back.
Hi, Henry. I'm so happy to be here again.
Listen, I know I like long-winded that intro, so my apologies. So in a nutshell, can you share with the audience how long you've been doing this and why you started to do this in the first place?
Mm-hmm. So I've been doing this project management and digital marketing for more than a decade already. I actually started 2009, and I've been helping businesses with organizing their business, putting up a system, their process, and basically just helping with the project management. And it's been more than a decade. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to help entrepreneurs to free up their time and learn and teach them how to delegate their tasks, their daily tasks, and just do what they love to do, which is working with the clients, putting up a strategy and a plan, and I just work in the background. So I found my strength in project management and digital marketing, and I think that, for more than a decade now of experience, I'm happy that I was able to help a lot of entrepreneurs.
Well, you've definitely helped us over the past half a decade. So, I continue to thank you every freaking day. I count my blessings.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate the hard work that you and your team do for me and my clients, and just keep up the great work. Seriously. So there's some things I'm going to get into, the mistakes that some entrepreneurs make when working with a remote team or hiring a remote team. I remember way back when I was starting to build out my team, I was nervous that, that nobody was going to do it like me, right? Nobody was going to do it like me. I might as well do this myself. And that became very overwhelming very quickly, so What do you say to an entrepreneur that says, you know what, this sounds great, but like I've dabbled in building out remote teams or hiring, VAs in the Philippines or offshore.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a huge disaster. The language barrier was a big problem. I'm just thinking of all the objections people come up with. How do we change that mindset, and what can an entrepreneur do to fix that?
Yeah. You know what? Before I answer your question, I already been thinking of so many things that entrepreneurs are making a lot of mistakes when they hear about, I need to hire a VA, I need to build my remote team. But the bottom line is you need to have a good communication with your team. This is based from experience. Let me share with you a story. When I started, there was a client that, she gave me a task, work on this, blah, 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 but work on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if the instruction is not clear on, what is your goal? Why are we working on this? To have a system and process in place already. You have to communicate that properly so that your VA or your project manager or your remote team, whoever your main point of contact is, would understand and execute your task properly so that you will be able to get the outcome, the result that you need. So the bottom line there is have a better communication. With Great Work Online, I do suggest for that communication barrier to be to overcome that communication barrier is I suggest our client to have a one-on-one weekly catch-up meeting with the project manager.
Yeah.
So that they can make sure that everybody's on the same page. That when the client assign a task, the project manager understands. The project manager understands that this specific task will go to this team member number 1. The second task will go to team member number 2. And the goal should be clear. Why are we doing this? Do you have an SOP there? Do you put a little bit of time or enough time for your remote team or for project manager to be able to learn your business? Because that is something that you can't learn in a week time. You have to put in an effort to train and educate your project manager or your VA so that they will understand who is your market, why are you doing this business, and what is your goal. So the communication should be clear. One of the mistakes that we had in the past from our client is that when they assign a task, they thought that the VA or the project manager can read their mind. It doesn't mean that we speak English. You speak English, I speak English, that we do understand each other. I remember when we were starting our relationship, Henry, I speak English, I do understand you, but there are some underlying reason and better explanation of the task. Yep. And so you need to explain, and the VA can make mistakes. So I guess the communication really needs to be there. No matter how you would no matter how you would convey your message in a form of a meeting, like what we do all the time in Unique Designs. We do have a weekly catch-up meeting. Whether it's a video call, you are explaining something to your team, do that. Yeah. Anything that will help your communication to be clear.
And I think to add to that, that's very well said. To add to that, I want to share with my fellow entrepreneurs that you have to have patience.
Yes.
With the people that you hire. because I look at it like this. I'd rather grow and groom than constantly replace. Because that's the one thing, like, and Pam will tell you, I've gotten better with my patience, but it's taken a lot of practice. But if I can recall any of the times where I've gotten something back from Pam's team and I was frustrated or this isn't what I was looking for, when I would look back at how I described the task or how I instructed the task, I always kept myself responsible by saying, you know what, I could have articulated that a little bit more clearer, or I could have communicated why I wanted to do this particular task, because Pam has a really solid team behind her, and I really respect and value their insights and their feedback. So sometimes I would just be in a rush and be like, hey, I just need this done for tomorrow, right? And then like they don't have any context on why, and now they become like a puppeteer. And I think and then all of a sudden we start to look at it as, well, I might as well just do this myself. Why am I hiring them?
You're going to get frustrated.
Yeah, we get super frustrated and we wind up like killing the engagement. So top-notch communication is key. Patience is key. What are some other mistakes that we make as entrepreneurs when working with remote teams?
Yeah, they tend, number two, I can say that, once they hire a team, they thought that the leads and the sales will come in right away. Like you hire this person and the next week you'll have leads and sales. It just like what you said, it takes a while. You need to put in effort. You need to do some heavy lifting first. You need to be prepared before you hire a team. Your system should be in place. Your process should be in place. Let's say, for example, you don't have a system or a process yet. Everything is like in your head. So that's why the reason why maybe you're going to say, hey, that's why I hired you, because you're going to help me create the system and the process. But then again, before you can delegate this to a team member, you must have a clear understanding first on how you would like to run your business, because the VA can do that for you. We've done this with Unique Designs. We polished your system and your process. I helped you do that. And we were still tweaking some things as we move forward. If we see that, all right, we need to polish this more, step 2 or whatever in your process. But because of you have that clear goal, how you would like to run your business, how you're going to interact and handle your client's project, you were able to articulate the system and the process. And I just help you execute that on Basecamp.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's still, the bottom line still is you must have that clear understanding of your business before you can delegate that. And then again, you have to have that patience and put enough time for the learning curve so that your team member can understand your goal and your audience. Right. So when we put that system and process, everything just
it was
so
like
smooth.
It was smooth as ice. It was smooth as ice.
And it was not just us being happy about the system and the process. Most importantly is all of your clients are happy with it.
Yeah. That's the end result, right? And also for those folks that are watching on Facebook right now, I want to encourage questions. If you're thinking about creating a remote team or building out a remote team online, like here's your chance to ask a 10-year veteran that has been doing this for entrepreneurs. So, no question's a stupid question. Drop the questions in the comments and I will field them accordingly and and replay them so our folks on iTunes and YouTube will get an understanding of what the question is. So, yeah, I want to back up what you were just saying. You know, one of the things that I had the most anxiety about when I was hiring my first project manager was, what do they do? I don't want to hire them and just have them stare at me in the face like, okay, Henry, you hired me. What do I do? So before I came to Pam, I had some choke points in my business that were really bogging me down. Like, for example, back in the day, I used my email as work orders, as a work order. And I did not have a system for clients to submit a project. They had to email me. I get 100 emails plus a day. That was not a very efficient system. So when I went to Pam, I said, first thing on the docket is, how do we systemize people or clients putting in design work projects? And so she, with her experience, said, well, do you have a form in place? No. Okay, well, here's a couple of suggestions. We have Woofu, we have Typeform, we have SurveyMonkey. These are all different platforms that you can embed into your website where people could go to, where all you have to do is share a link and to the customer, and the customer goes and fills out the form, and boom, you get the order, and now it's all laid out beautifully for you. We'll take that and we'll submit it to your designer, and then the designer will get it completed. And then so Pam saw, I was able to articulate my choke point, and Pam was able to pick up on that right away and provide solution. And then her and her team actually helped me build out the process and system internally. We use Basecamp. You could use 1,000 different, like Trello and Asana and all these projects.
There's a lot, yeah.
There's a lot, but we use Basecamp because it's super simple and easy, and my brain understands the logic. Yeah. And now we have this really cool system. But had I not come prepared with the actual issues and challenges that I was having, I'm leaving that up to Pam to sort of decipher and understand, and that's not fair to her. So that's a really good point. So I heard the first issue is communication, making sure that you're clear and articulate with what it is that you want out of a remote team. The second I heard was thinking that sales and leads are going to come right away as soon as you hire a remote team or bring in a project manager or virtual team to help you do that. There was a third one that we talked about offline. What was that third one? The big mistake that entrepreneurs make when it comes to working with a remote team.
The third one, I think, based from our experience, is that client think that the VA can read their mind. And I think that's the biggest mistake that a client can make. Because it's going to boil down to communication. You can't give an instruction that is half meant or, not clear. It needs to be clear. You can't assume that, all right, I'm leaving this to Pam. She knows what she's going to do. It's not that. You understand your business better. You understand your audience. You understand your services, your product, what you want to offer. So it's going to be a win-win situation when you make your communication clear to your team. Then you're going to get the result that you want. Don't assume that because she is your VA or she is your project manager and she has this 6-year experience already, that she's gonna or he's gonna be able to read your mind. No, you have to be clear. So there are so many tools and there's so many ways for you to be able to communicate clearly. Number one is, you said, Henry, use a project management tool. Come up with an SOP. I think that's number one. Most important thing is for an entrepreneur to have an SOP, because your team member needs that so that they can follow everything properly there. You can communicate via Slack. I recommended that in the beginning because before I feel like I am already working on something and I need to ask Henry and I can't wait for an email because I'm on it. So, there are so many tools and so many ways for you to be able to have that clear communication so that no assumptions, no guessing, no back and forth that's going to happen. And you're not going to be the bottleneck in your business.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem. I think the difference between you and the next person scaling online is you.
Yes, because you're the one giving the direction.
And how quickly you can get your ass out of your own way. It's the truth. How many times have I said to you, I'm not touching that because I know if I touch it, it's going to go to mush. Like this is your world. We've done this a couple times where I wanted something edited on the website and I thought I could do it on my own. And then
and then you're going to mess it up.
Yeah, so here's your thing. But getting back to standard operating procedure, I love the fact that you brought that up. So what we did was we created an outline on a Google Doc and basically went that line by line. Like you asked me, what happens first, second, third? And I think we had like a 15 process thing, like a 15-step process, which you were able to refine down to like 3 or 4, right? One transfer but able to outline that out first to kind of see it at 30,000 feet and say, oh, wow, this is really clunky. Like we can chop this down. We can make this more efficient. And then transfer that SOP into the process or platform that we use to seamlessly take the client through is gold. The other thing was you mentioned offline about organization and how entrepreneurs think that things are going to be organized in like 2 days after bringing on a remote employee or Before we get into that, though, I just said that because I wanted to remind myself to go there. But we have a question on Facebook from Andrew Pfeiffer, and he's asking, what are some payment strategies for remote teams?
It depends on how much budget you have for your business. So it could be depending on who you're hiring. Is that the question?
I think he's asking like how do you pay? Like, is it hourly? Is it
Based? So I guess it depends on who you're hiring. If you're gonna and the budget, again, it's the budget. If you are hiring somebody for the first time, I'd rather you pay on an hourly basis because it's gonna be a testing phase. If you already have that workflow that you want to follow, then pay on an hourly basis. And then by then you'll be able to gauge if this is the right person to do, if this is simple and she's taking like 2 hours, which is supposed to be just an hour, then you already know how much you should pay. If it's based on a project, for example, you're working on a website, a landing page, you don't want to pay somebody on an hourly basis because that's going to cost you a lot. So depending on what you need, I guess. Yeah. Depending on what you need.
And if you want to go even deeper, like I talked about this in a previous video about how we use Time Doctor, which is a project management. It's a time recording software, if you will. It helps me manage the time of my team. It helps
monitor.
It helps me monitor what they're working on, and I can see them. I can see them literally working on their screens, which is really cool. But we have 4 different. We have team members in 4 different continents.
4 different time zones.
Yeah, in 4 different time zones. So what works really well for me is I just use PayPal and I send the payments through PayPal. Everybody that I work with actually can accept PayPal. There's some other payment merchant services accounts that you could use for folks like Egypt, for example. I don't think they take PayPal. You have to use something else. So I don't know off the top of my head what that payment merchant service is. But
Payoneer.
What?
Payoneer.
There's Payoneer, and then there's another one, but I can't think of it right now. It'll come to me. But anyway, those are the payment gateways we use. But to your point, I think it's very important that for any admin work, I recommend doing the hourly rate.
Yes.
Find a really good hourly rate, and then pay them hourly, because since the COVID-19 outbreak, we were averaging 15, 20 hours a week, right? Which on things that weren't necessary. They were nice to haves, not must haves. So we actually cut that back, and that was easy to do, because I said to Pam, Pam, we got to cut this in half for the time being, just to get us through this. So we're going to be at 6 hours. And I know this is lean and mean, but this is what we got to do to survive.
Yes. Yes.
But, and you were like, okay. So it was very easy to do that from an hourly basis. We're going from 15, 20 to 6. We're going to bust our ass and work as efficiently as I can in those 6 hours. And anything that goes over, you have to ask me to approve it. And then if it's approved, then we can move forward. But very easy to do when you're working remotely. Working hourly. Now, Priyanka has a great question too. This is a good one. How do you bridge the time and cultural differences between members of an online team? That's a really deep question.
Yeah, that's a good question, Priyanka. I think what you can do there to bridge that is have a regular meetup, just like what we do. We have a weekly catch-up meeting. We brainstorm. You share your goals, your plans, your failures, your wins, and through that you also you learn to know your team members. And by knowing your team members, you just break that gap of cultural differences, and you understand each other. I guess that gives you more bond and a good relationship within your team. So having that regular communication, whether it's a catch-up meeting, whether it's a daily meeting, depending on your availability. We had a client in the past when she was starting. She wanted to meet her project manager every day, just to keep the momentum going and just to make sure that everything is working perfectly. They are both on the same page. They're building the process. They're building the system, and it worked for her. But once everything was smooth and everything was set up, they went down to just 3 times a week. So depending on your availability and how much work you have, then do that. But I really think that's the key there, to break that.
People want to be part of things that are bigger than them. If they feel like they're part of a team or a community or things like that, you're going to get a higher caliber person. You're going to get better work. I think, because we had this conversation too. We were meeting bi-weekly, and then I said, no, I want to do it weekly, starting effective now. Right. And we have been doing that for 6-7 months now. And I asked, do we go back to bi-weekly? And one of our team members said, no, I like this weekly stuff. It really makes me feel part of something, and it keeps us glued together. And I value that feedback. And I said, then that's fine. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to continue to do that. When your team is working for you, I firmly believe that when you've built the relationship, when you've built the culture, they're going to look up to you, as a leader. They're going to look up to you as somebody that's mentoring them, perhaps, or they're going to look up to you as that person. And why not build that relationship with the people that work for you and want to do great work for you? And the other thing is it's really going to show them how much you care about them, about your clients, about the work that you do in general. And that's going to fire them up to do great work for you. Now, this is a little bonus tip, and this is up to you. I'm not saying you have to do this, but one of the things that I've done in the past that have helped me secure some really quality team members is paying a little extra for their service. So, for example, back in the day when I was going through project managers and junior designers, I would see hourly rates at $12 or $13 an hour. And if they were really good and I interviewed them and their personality was great and their energy was great, I would say, you know what? I see that you have here $13 an hour US. I'm going to pay you 16, or I'm going to pay you 17. I'm going to pay you 18 an hour. It sounds like, why would you do that? Aren't you hiring these people to save money? But listen, when you show them that they're worth it and you're willing to do that to get the work that you're looking for, so what I tell them is this: I'm paying a premium here to assure that you're going to get the work done properly, efficiently, on time, and at the quality that I'm looking for. If you're able to do this, I'm willing to pay you at this rate. And it's a little bit over than what you're asking. What standard does that set? How does that create the relationship from the beginning? How does that make that other person feel for a sec? And then you could say, you got to have parameters, right? You're going to be on a 90-day what's the word they call it? Like a 90-day probation period. Let's see how we work together in the next 90 days. It's 3 months. Give you enough runway to get used to everything. And if it works out, then we'll keep you on board. And so we've done that. We've done that a bunch of times, and it's been really helpful. I mean, we've gotten some really great talent.
People would like to feel valued. They don't want to feel like they're just another brick on the wall. If just like the quote from Richard Branson, if you take care of your team, of your staff, they will take care of your clients. And I really believe that that's what you're doing, and that's what we're doing with Great Work Online. The people, the staff member that we had since we started Great Work Online, they are still here with us, and they are taking care of our clients. Same thing with what Henry is saying. When we started this relationship way back for so many years already, I remember you were open with this, so let me share with this, Henry. It was one day I was gonna drive my kids to school, and he was chatting away on Slack, and he was like, "Pam, if money is not a problem, where do you wanna go with your kids, or what do you want to do if money is not a problem?" I said, "Well, actually, I want to travel with my kids." And to tell you honestly, I haven't traveled outside the country during that time. It's more of like, why am I going to go outside the country? I'm happy here in the Philippines, things like that. But because Henry saw the value, he didn't just invest in me or in his team, but because he cared for his team members, he gave me a gift that I will never, and my kids will never forget. And since then, it's not like I'm doing this because Henry gave me this, but it's because of I feel valued, and I feel that Henry trusted me, that I can do the work, that I can help him, and that I am part of Unique Designs, and I'm not just one freelancer that he's going to pay, but I am part of the team. I felt that I am part of the family. It's not Unique Designs as a business, but it's Unique Designs as a family with the rest of the team members that we have at Unique Designs. So, if you can make that feeling towards your team members, I think that is golden. your team members will take care of your clients, will take care of your business, and will help you really grow your business.
Yeah. Don't treat them, don't treat them as disposable people. I see that a lot. It goes right through me when I hear people talk about their VAs and talk about their remote teams, and they talk about them like they're disposable, like they could get one, at a drop of a hat, and that really, being the people person that I am, that doesn't resonate. I know they're trying to look cool in front of me by saying like, oh yeah, I can just get a VA and do this, and right, and like they're trying to look like they got their shit together. I'm sitting there going like, you sound very foolish, and you sound like you don't appreciate people. And like, quite frankly, I don't know if I would want to work with somebody like you, because look at the way you treat your team. Mm-hmm. I'm no different. You're not going to treat me any different. Who am I? So be careful how you treat people, because how you treat people is how you're going to get treated. Believe me when I tell you. I know from the good side and I know from the bad side, because I'll be straight up with you. I didn't treat people that well in my past, and I got it right back. Believe me. And it's much harder. I mean, I got it back much more aggressive than I gave it. I can promise you that. And so just think about that when you're working with your team, whether it be remotely or even in-house.
Even in person, at an office setting.
I think a lot of the things that we talked about today could really expand into, brick and mortar and people having big teams, in person. But for the most part, now that everything's sort of shifting and people are starting to see, whoa, there's some efficiencies here by working online or creating a remote team. Like, I would not be able to deliver the value that I deliver without you guys. I really wouldn't, because I'd be stretched way too thin. And that's the biggest objection, or I shouldn't say objection, but that's the biggest choke point that my clients have when it comes to growing their business online is, Henry, I'm trying to be the copywriter. I'm trying to be the designer. I'm trying to build out my own funnel. I'm trying to do my own logo. I'm trying to do all this stuff. And I've hit rock bottom. I know I can't do this stuff anymore. And I know it's going to cost me more if I don't hire you. So I might as well hire one of the best and get it done right the first time. And it's the same thing when you're working with admins or project managers. Like, your time is valued at X. Does it make sense for you to do all of this admin work, or to come prepared, come with a structured outline, come with a very clear line of communication to a project manager, put in the work up front, right? That's what you and I did. We put up the work up front. It was a bitch. It was a pain in the ass. It was tedious. But now look at us.
But it paid off.
We sail at 40. We fly at 40,000 feet, and things are so systematic and structured now. It's like tying your shoe. Yeah. So
you just need to do the heavy lifting at first, and then your client will definitely thank you for that. They will be very happy if you already have come up with a structured business.
Yeah, your client will really, really appreciate that. A lot of the testimony that we get when we ask, what was the best part of the process or experience with going through the Brand Accelerator program, and they say, you know what you're doing. There was never a time where I felt lost or confused or like I didn't know what was coming next. And we would not be able to do that if I didn't have the help from Pam and her team. And like you said, I think you said it best. Like, I came with this like clunky old jalopy truck, and you came in and said, we're going to polish this up based on my experience, and we're going to make this thing spotless. And that's what we do. And now it's a lot easier. So I truly believe in this saying. It's a lot easier to stay in shape than to get in shape. And that you could use that physically, you could use that professionally, however you'd like. And so now that we're in shape, it's a lot easier to stay in shape than to do this, from scratch. So yes, it's going to be a little bit of heavy lifting up front, but I can promise you, I've been doing this 13 years online. It pays off. Like the past 18, 24 months, I feel like, wow, I've gotten my life back. I've gotten my sanity back. I love the work that I do again. And I love the team that I work with, and I wouldn't trade them for anything. So I really appreciate you, Pam, coming on. Man, this is a long interview, but I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your insights and just giving the honesty that you've experienced and honesty to the folks that need it the most right now.
Thank you so much, Henry. Anytime.
Listen, Pam, I'd be shooting myself in the foot here if I didn't tell or ask you where people can learn more about you and your team and great work online.
Mm-hmm. So you can check us out at greatworkonline.com. We have a podcast called How to Build a Team. Me and my business partner and my fiance, David Monteith, have this show built for you entrepreneurs who are feeling overwhelmed with your daily tasks. We give away tips and guidelines on how we can help you, how you can manage your team, how you can build a team, how you can interact with your virtual assistant or your project manager or a freelancer. So subscribe, just search How to Build a Team, and just go to our website and everything's there. We are on social media. The link is on greatworkonline.com, and I will be happy to answer all of your questions. Just feel free to email me if you have one, or go to Henry and ask him where he can find me. He knows where to find me. Yeah.
I love it. Pam, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I appreciate everybody on Facebook dropping some great questions. Priyanka and Andrew Pfeiffer. For those folks that are just tuning in, you'll have to catch the replay. But thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. And for all you entrepreneurs out there that are looking to grow and scale your business online, I have a great resource for you. If you go to uniquedesignswithaz.net, so it's Unique Designs with a Z at the end, not an S, .net/scale your business. You will get a great little quick video series on how we've been able to help our clients grow and scale online. And then I also have another resource for you. This is a downloadable resource. It's a brand strategy guide. And since I've put it out, I've gotten hundreds and hundreds of downloads on it. So I highly recommend you grab this. It's a light read, but it's a really easy read. If you go to Unique Designs with a Z at the end, not an S, .net/brand strategy, download that resource. It's 36 pages, but it's very well designed. It's more visual than it is reading, so it's not going to be a bore for you. It's really going to help you position yourself and get yourself set up online so that you can grow and scale. So have an amazing day, guys. Pam, thanks again, and I will catch you guys on the next episode. Take care. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, this is Henry Kaminsky Jr. again, and really quick, I want to invite you to a one-on-one consult with me right now if you're looking for the clarity and focus you need to build your brand. Over the past 13 years, I've served hundreds of entrepreneurs that have great products but struggled tremendously with articulating its value to their ideal customers. You didn't get into business to just change a few lives, did you? Your ideal clients need you. And when your brand has precision-crafted messaging coupled with beautifully thoughtful design that sounds, looks, and feels like you, they'll know you're the perfect match for them. If this is something you're struggling with, what I want you to do right now is pause this audio and go visit www.uniquedesigns with a Z at the end, not an S, .net, and book your one-on-one consult call with me. Remember, the quality of your brand will determine the quality of your clients, and the quality of your clients will determine the quality of your life.